The stolen sleep, a modern crisis. In today's world, where every minute is precious, sleep seems like a luxury that many of us cannot afford. But what if I told you that sleep is actually the key to our productivity, mental and physical health? Have you ever wondered how differently your life could look if you slept better? Controversially, we ignore one of the most fundamental needs of the human body, risking not only our efficiency during the day, but also long-term consequences for our health. Are we ready for a change that could turn our lives upside down, but for the better? We have long known that sleep has a huge impact on brain development and its functioning, and each new study indicates that this impact is greater than previously thought. Scientists believe that children from the age of 5 to 13 should sleep a minimum of 9 hours per day, and older ones at least 8 hours per day. Unfortunately, only a small percentage of children and teenagers sleep long enough, and it's not just about watching movies and surfing the internet, but also about doing homework. Many experts believe that children have too much work, and by doing homework assigned at school and preparing for the next day's classes, they have to stay up late. Forced by parents to go to bed earlier, they are too stressed and excited for sleep to come easily. Before sleep, one needs to be appropriately relaxed. Now, think about what you do before sleep. Do your habits promote good rest? Why is it important for children and teenagers to sleep long enough? During sleep, the brain organizes the information acquired during the day and produces neurotransmitters, substances that are key to transmitting information between neurons in the brain. The brains of sleep-deprived people are significantly less efficient, work slower, absorb information worse, and are less effective at sorting it. Moreover, they have a harder time remembering information and are more susceptible to depression. Sleep deprivation is also associated with significant mood swings, but that's still not all. Sleep-deprived people have deteriorated vision and suffer from muscle and headache pains. Individuals who sleep less are statistically more obese and less resistant to infections. Studies conducted using functional magnetic resonance imaging have shown that in individuals sleeping less than 6 hours per day, blood flow through entire parts of the brain is insufficient, meaning less oxygen gets there. And this means that these areas, for objective physiological reasons, are not able to function well. An adult should sleep a minimum of 7 hours per day. Meet Marek, who, despite spending late hours in front of the computer screen, battles with insomnia every night. Marek wakes up at 6:30, angrily turning off the alarm on his phone set for a 10-minute snooze. Barely alive, Marek spends the snooze time in bed. And you? Have you ever felt like Marek, fighting for every minute of sleep? Eventually he gets up, makes breakfast and goes to school. After school he returns home, tired, eats dinner. After dinner, a mandatory nap, waking up around 6 p.m., briefly doing mandatory homework, and then sits at the computer until 11 p.m., playing games and browsing the internet. It's late, so irritated that he didn't complete a game mission. He goes to bed, tossing and turning. He can't fall asleep, finally drifting off. The next morning, the alarm on his phone rings again, and Marek wakes up tired. Why does this happen, even though Marek gets a total of about 9 hours of sleep a day? And now Adam, he has focused on the regularity and quality of sleep, discovering a secret that changed his life. Adam, who wakes up at 6 o'clock, opens the window to let in more light and air. Adam dresses in sportswear and takes his dog for a 20-minute walk, during which he stops by the bakery to buy fresh bread for breakfast. At school, he is focused and active in classes. After classes, he returns home, eats lunch, and takes a 20-minute nap. After the nap, he does his homework and prepares for the next school day. In the evening, he goes to the court to play basketball with friends, comes home and has time to watch a good movie or read an interesting book. He goes to bed at midnight. In the morning, he wakes up again at 6, rested and full of energy. Imagine Marek, whose fatigue is painted on his face every morning, like a shadow he cannot shake off. And then Adam, whose eyes sparkle with energy and readiness to act, thanks to the secret of sleep's regenerative power. Have you ever woken up completely unrested despite spending many hours in bed? What if we told you that the secret lies not only in the quantity, but also in the quality of sleep? Dreams have their phases. The most important for us is the phase of deep sleep, during which our body regenerates and rests the most. We enter the deep sleep phase during the first 5 hours of sleep. The longer we sleep, the more shallow our sleep becomes, which means our sleep is of lower quality. Do you think your habits allow you to enjoy the phase of deep sleep? Moreover, Adam engages in physical activity every day, causing his body temperature to rise. A high body temperature signals our body to be more focused and stimulated to act. The absence of such movement causes our body temperature to drop, signaling rest and sleep. Thus, Adam raises and lowers his body temperature, which means that at night it decreases, leading to deeper and more solid sleep. While our Marek, sitting in front of the computer and not engaging in any physical activity, feels sleepy and lethargic during the day. At night, he often wakes up and cannot sleep. Additionally, Adam spends a lot of time outdoors, thereby lowering the level of melatonin in his body. Melatonin is secreted in our body when we are in darkness, making us sleepier. Adam doesn't have this problem, as he takes every opportunity to be in daylight, thus reducing the secretion of melatonin by his body. Are you ready to try Adam's method and see the difference in your life? Marek spends most of his day indoors, so his melatonin level is elevated, causing his sleepiness and lack of concentration. So, we spend a third of our life sleeping. But what would happen if one day we woke up and decided never to go to sleep again? How long would we last? Experimentally, the longest recorded period during which a person remained without sleep is 11 days, in the case of Randy Gardner in 1964. And it did not end in death, although it had significant negative effects on health and well-being. After 24 hours, we will feel the first signs of fatigue. Our energy is still high, but we notice that our attention begins to wane, especially when we try to focus on something for an extended period. It is somewhat frustrating, as normally we do not have a problem with concentration. It is surprising how quickly the body reacts to the lack of sleep. At the 46th hour, we already feel significant fatigue. Our concentration begins to weaken significantly, and tasks that we usually perform without a problem now require more effort. We feel a bit like in a foggy state, where everything is slightly less clear. Surprisingly, the body still holds strong, but the mind begins to show the first signs of rebellion against this experiment. By the 4th day, the feeling of fatigue is now a constant companion. The mind seems to be in a state of perpetual fog, and concentration and the ability to focus on anything become increasingly difficult. Irritation arises from the smallest reasons, which is uncharacteristic for us. We start to experience slight changes in perception, which is disconcerting. Day 5, and the fatigue becomes even more intense. Our thoughts flow more slowly, and any attempt at concentration seems to require a tremendous effort. The sense of time begins to blur. Days merge into one another. Memory also suffers. It becomes harder to recall simple things. Moods become more variable, ranging from frustration to baseless amusement. Day 6. visual hallucinations begin to appear, making it hard for us to distinguish what is reality. Our ability to think logically is significantly weakened. On the seventh and eighth days, the sense of time and reality become increasingly blurred. Conversations become more difficult, our thoughts are chaotic, and the ability to focus on anything nearly disappears. In the following days, our cognitive functions are significantly impaired. We have difficulties with simple tasks. Emotions are unpredictable, ranging from apathy to irritation without a clear reason. On the last day, we are on the edge. Our body and mind demand sleep. We feel extremely exhausted. Every moment seems like an eternity. One of the conclusions is that young people may be particularly resistant to the short-term effects of sleep deprivation, although this does not mean it has no negative impact on their health and functioning. After the experiment ended and a return to a normal sleep schedule, Gardner quickly regained his normal cognitive and physical functions, indicating that some negative effects of sleep deprivation can be reversible with proper rest. The experiment highlighted the need for further research on the impact of sleep deprivation on health, including potentially long-term effects of chronic sleep deprivation. Sleep cannot be bought, but it can be wisely managed. Are you ready for a change that will not only transform your nights, but also your days? Remember, good sleep is an investment in the future. As William Dement, a pioneer in sleep research and disorders, said, "Sleep is one of the most important, yet least understood and most neglected aspects of our lives, health and longevity." This thought emphasizes how crucial it is for us to pay attention to our sleep, not just for our day-to-day performance, but for the entirety of our lives. If you want to learn more about how to improve the quality of your sleep and discover more secrets that can transform your life, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and watch the next videos. Each new video is another chance to learn something that can change your days and nights. Invest in your future through better sleep starting today. See you in the next video.